TWIRx, Todd Eury, Pharmacy Podcast Network. Lots to talk about today. But first,
hi, this is Bruce Nealand. I get to be the host of the Pharmacy Crossroads podcast. Pharmacy Crossroads is proud to be a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network, and I can't wait to listen to the next episode of This Week in Pharmacy.
hey, thank you, Bruce, so much for your commitment to the network, for hosting Pharmacy Crossroads over the years. It's been absolutely terrific. Today we have Keith Kalmus. He's president of Nested Knowledge. We're going to be talking about the impact of artificial intelligence on pharmacy practice. We're also going to be talking with Jesse McCullough. Dr. McCullough wraps up the 31-day Pharmacist Challenge. And bonus guest, Matthew Zachary. You're not going to want to miss this one. This is going to be incredible. We're going to be taking on the PBM Mafia all today on TWIRx Halloween Special. Hey, welcome to TWIRx. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you have some interesting plans for today. October 31st, 2025. It's Friday. It's time to TWIRx. It's going to be a big Friday out there throughout the communities. Definitely keep your ears and eyes open for the craziness. It's Halloween 2025. Come in on a Friday to kick off the weekend. And that can stress some people out, I know. And we got trick-or-treaters, and we got parties, and we got people driving, and masks and everything. So just have fun, but be careful. We have so much to go over today. I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for listening to This Week in Pharmacy. First up, we're going to get into some TWIRx news. First up, we're going to be talking about the flag, the heads up. And that is coming from Pharmacy Practice News. And we're going to bring this one up first.
TWIRx News from Pharmacy Practice News explores the appropriate use of the novel antibiotic cefiderocol in combating multi-drug-resistant gram-negative infections and the growing concern around emerging resistance. The drug uses a unique Trojan horse mechanism, hitching a ride on bacterial iron transport pathways to overcome resistance mechanisms such as efflux pumps and beta-lactamasases. Real-world surveillance data and clinical trial follow-ups suggest good activity against pathogens like Pseudomonas and carbapenem-resistant Enterobacteriales. However, the article emphasizes that cefiderocol's use must be paired with rigorous antimicrobial stewardship because resistance and treatment failure have already been documented in certain settings. Pharmacists play a key role in appropriate patient selection, monitoring, and ensuring optimal use to preserve its utility. The takeaway? Cefiderocol offers a promising option, but only if used judiciously, not as a first-line broad agent, and only within frameworks that guard against further resistance.
Next
From October
up,
30th, This Week in Pharmacy, news from Specialty Pharmacy Continuum reports how alternative funding programs, arrangements used by self-insured employer health plans to shift specialty drug costs outside standard pharmacy or medical benefits, are increasingly influencing access to specialty medications. AFPs typically exclude high-cost specialties from benefit coverage, directing patients to third-party vendors who attempt to leverage manufacturer or charitable assistance programs. While employers may see cost-saving appeals, the article highlights risks, delayed treatment, higher out-of-pocket costs, and burdened assistance programs originally aimed at uninsured or low-income populations. Evidence indicates AFPs may reduce transparency, undermine benefit design, and potentially bypass regulatory oversight that governs traditional insurance. The bottom line, AFPs present a growing access barrier for patients with rare or complex conditions, shifting cost burdens and complicating care coordination.
shout out to Specialty Pharmacy Continuing. Thank you for the news today. We're going to be doing more with you in 2026. This next news is a big one. You've probably already heard about it.
An alarming update today from the Associated Press. A nationwide recall has been issued for nearly 600,000 bottles of the blood pressure medication prazosin hydrochloride following detection of a potentially cancer-causing nitrosamine impurity called N-nitrosoprazosin impurity C. According to the Food and Drug Administration, the batches in question were produced by Teva Pharmaceuticals USA and were voluntarily recalled in multiple strengths and bottle sizes. The recall is classified as Class 2, meaning the drug may cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health issues, but the risk of serious harm is considered remote. Patients currently taking the recalled medication are urged not to stop the drug abruptly. Instead, they should check with their pharmacy and/or healthcare provider to verify whether their lot is affected and discuss safe alternative therapies. Pharmacists are in a key role to help identify impacted lots, advise patients, and coordinate product replacement or therapeutic substitution.
All right, and rounding out TWIRx news today, we're digging into mental
Our last
health.
story on today's TWIRx news is from Pharmacy Times, titled Meeting Patients Where They Are, How Pharmacists Are Helping People Stay on Track with Schizophrenia Treatment. The article highlights a pharmacist-led program by Genoa Healthcare, which focuses on improving medication adherence for patients with schizophrenia by addressing the transition from hospital to community care, a high-risk gap in the care continuum. Long-acting injectables are used as a strategic tool to offer consistent medication delivery, reducing relapse and hospitalization risk in schizophrenia. Genoa's model embeds pharmacists in mental health center clinics, verifies insurance authorization prior to discharge, schedules next injections proactively, and follows up if patients miss appointments. Since the program launch in 2023, they have administered over 50,000 LA doses across more than 740 pharmacy locations in 47 states, demonstrating scalable impact. Pharmacists are positioned as accessible, trusted members of the care team who can bridge complex access barriers like cost, logistics, and education. The model shows that proactive, integrated pharmacy-based interventions can support better outcomes and not just medication dispensing. This approach underscores expanding roles for pharmacists in behavioral health, especially in community or clinic-based settings.
Hey, if you have anything that you'd like to share on TWIRx News, if you're a news organization, if you're a company and you want to share this, please reach out to us. Reach out to me at Eury, E-U-R-Y, at pharmacypodcast.com. And before we get into our first feature, we'll be right back. Hey everyone, it's Todd Eury with the Pharmacy Podcast Network. I could not be more excited to talk to you that we're going to be doing the SureCast with SureCost at the Insights User Conference on November 13th and 14th. I'm going to be part of this event. I cannot wait to meet with you, talk with you, leverage data together, learn how to use data better. And it's going to be an incredible opportunity to connect with other pharmacy owners and innovators, colleagues who are all working together for the same goal, helping pharmacies thrive. And what better way to capture those conversations than a live event? That's SureCast. And I can't wait to bring this to you, sit down with so many of you. This is going to be in Nashville. Don't forget, on November 13th through 14th. And there will be a link to go to the registration, and we'll see you there. On this week in pharmacy, it's a scary day in Halloween land here at the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Is that scaring anybody? Is this mask scaring anybody? This mask scares the crap out of me. I don't even want to look at it on camera. Hey, we have a special guest. He is currently invisible. You can't even see him up against the brick wall, but he is a ghost and he's floating around out there because I want to demystify and make AI less invisible than what it is because I want to understand it better. Keith Kalmus from Nested Knowledge. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
I'm going to get this stupid mask off of my head now and start the show. This is a good day. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's a beautiful day.
What are you going to do for Halloween tonight? Anything?
I'm going to go to a conference, and then I'm going to fly to Italy, and then I'm going to go to another conference.
Yeah, you have been conferencing everywhere. What conference is happening in Italy?
I was just at AVBCC, Association of Value-Based Cancer Care. I'm going to AMCP, Nexus, and then I'm going to Italy to see my sister, and then I'm going to ISPOR, and right from there to ISPOR, Scotland. So I have 4 conferences in 5 weeks. Italy is my week off to spend with my family, and then it's just back to back to back.
That's incredible. That's a lot of work, a lot of travel, but you are heating up. I met you at a conference recently, just earlier this year, understood what Nested Knowledge is doing to impact healthcare, more specifically pharmacy, specialty pharmacy, and the use of accelerating AI into practice and usage. And I'm excited to feature you again on This Week in Pharmacy. I want you to give our listeners just a short overview, if they haven't heard some of our previous episodes. What is Nested Knowledge? Tell us about that.
That's a great question. Nested Knowledge, in brief, is evidence synthesis for pharmaceutical and healthcare providers. It's a means and a method for taking all of the literature that exists, compiling and analyzing it in as efficient and comprehensive a way as possible. That includes things like systematic literature reviews, meta-analyses, targeted reviews, gap assessments, all the way up to like a health technology assessment dossier. For those of you in the United States, like me, something like an AMCP dossier. So when a pharmaceutical company wants to get reimbursed, they need to show, number one, the unmet clinical need or the additional clinical utility of a drug. They need to show the epidemiological burden of illness of the disease that they're seeking to treat or manage. And they need to show economic impact. So how much they're going to benefit the hospital system or the patient or the patient's family or the society in general. So clinical, epidemiological, and economic benefit. And that goes into a dossier. And for you pharmacists out there, all this is upstream of formulary. All this is upstream of when you're actually able to prescribe a drug. Evidence synthesis is also key for things like designing real-world evidence protocols. That's what I'm going to be speaking on at AMCP Nexus this week. It's also central to regulatory submissions, knowing the existing landscape that's out there. It's also central to designing clinical trials, so you can align your protocols with previous clinical trials and really optimize that meta-analysis coming down the pipe. It's central to healthcare decision-making, no matter what stakeholder you are. And we're really in an exciting time. It used to be, entirely manual. It used to be you went to a physical library to do it. Then it was you went to PubMed and pulled things down manually and did it in Excel. And we're now entering the AI age of evidence synthesis, where you can do things 85, 90% faster than you could just 2 or 3 years ago.
I like this, and I like the fact that you are going full steam ahead. I've heard from pharmacists, I've heard from pharmacy owners that they say, does AI present a threat to the value of our clinicians, to our pharmacists? And for me, and what little I know from what I've seen, different tools in usage, including Nested Knowledge impact on our publication through some of the projects that we're working on that we're going to be releasing full steam in 2026, the answer is no. It's an amplifier for an existing talent, an existing experience, and your team is bringing so much research to the fingertips and to the eyes and ears of our clinicians through what you've designed. We're excited about this. Can you give us some examples? Because you and I met at Assembia 2025 earlier this year. Can you give us some examples of how Nested Knowledge is working, let's say in specialty pharmacy, for example?
Absolutely. So the first thing that pops in my mind, because we met it in Vegas, but then we caught up in Denver at NASP. Something a specialty pharmacist does use Nested Knowledge for would be just seeing what specialty drugs are coming down the pipe, right? So this could be novel molecules, it could be biosimilars or generics. Every single manufacturer that wants to sell their products in the United States is going to have a clinicaltrials.gov registration for their phase 1, 2, 3 trials that they're running to get that drug on the market. And specialty pharmacists have every incentive to know what that pipeline looks like. One, maybe you're looking to grow your formulary. Maybe there's a new molecule that's coming down the pipe that will lead to a more competitive market and better pricing for you and your patients. Number two, if you're trying to secure a new important drug for your specialty pharmacy in competition with other specialty pharmacies in the area, and they're only going to do it with 1 or 2 specialty pharmacies, knowing which manufacturers are at what point in development for those molecules can be extremely helpful. And you could just use nested knowledge to automatically pull every trial in any given therapeutic area, diabetes and obesity, oncology, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, et cetera, into a database, and within 10, 15 minutes have a view of the landscape, who's developing what, the sponsors, the phase, the target patient populations, and that could even translate down the line into comparative efficacy data. So if you're a pharmacist that's working in P&T, because it's AMCP Nexus week, I have to drop the P&T aspect of this. When you're looking at what drug should be on formulary, you want to know, hey, is this going to serve my patients? And very swiftly within nested knowledge, you can actually get meta-analytical comparative clinical efficacy data to establish non-inferiority or superiority of a new molecule. Whereas in the past, that would have taken a biostatistician something like 9 months and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do. So that's how a specialty pharmacist would use us. The last one I can think of is just for your curiosity. If you ever just have this idea, I wonder what the standard of care for this therapeutic area is, and you want to know, that used to be a sort of shot in the dark with PubMed. Now you can do it in, again, minutes and get an AI summary and an AI landscape of what drugs are used for what patient populations and in what therapeutic areas. So yeah, actually, I'm going to add one more comment on that around what you were saying with how is AI going to affect practice. Mm-hmm. We are an enablement technology. We're a human in the loop technology. There's a lot of really cool AIs out there that are just sort of like chatbots, where you can ask them questions and they'll give you references. And I use those LLMs every day. I think they're great tools. But when it comes to systematic decision making, I think it's really important that we have humans in the driver's seat. And what we really try to do is automate the scout work, automate the formatting and extraction, so that humans can focus on human level decision making. And some preliminary data, we're seeing 85+% time savings versus manual with improved accuracy. And I actually think that the latter piece is more important. AI can not only save you time, it can actually make you more comprehensive and more accurate in your research.
I also like the fact that if you had a disease state, let's say we're looking at a blood disorder, we have hyperlipidemia, we have many medications that have been leveraged at different times of treatment, maybe at the beginning, middle stage, ongoing. Something that you're able to do for the clinician teams and drill down into is you say, hey, what are the medications? What are the studies? What are some of the recent studies that support what I'm looking for? And you might dial into, and the scouting, I love that word. The scouting is now it goes out into where it can to find that information. I think this becomes more powerful as we start connecting some of nested knowledge's systems and interfaces to drug database repositories, information repositories like a Wolters Kluwer or a big Medispan or something, so that we can source and bring things faster to a clinician. And therein lies also what you said, which is using it as a way to empower the clinician, but it's up to the clinician. It's the clinician's decision-making. We're not taking anything away from the clinician. We're just giving so much more faster accessibility of information that they are usually having to research on their own or sub it out to someone else to do that research. And I think that the novelty as well as the current event of things that are happening in the markets as well as in specific disease state management is just fascinating, of how a nested knowledge system can assist. So this is powerful.
Up to data, if you will.
Up to data, exactly. I love it. I can't believe it. You are going to Italy. Have you ever been to Italy before?
I have, yeah. I did Venice and Rome, but I'm doing Florence this time, so it should be fun.
Yeah. Different. Well, we want to hear about it. So maybe when you get back, you can spend some more time with us. We're going to bring on a pharmacist with you, or maybe even a couple that are interested in leveraging AI, as well as maybe some of the organizations and people that you've worked with in the past, so that they can start building contextual comparison of what nested knowledge has done to amplify, to speed up, to support our pharmacist clinicians and dialing into better patient care. This is fascinating.
Excellent. I'll look forward to it, Todd.
Yeah, happy Halloween. I hope you get some trick or treat candy tonight and have a safe trip to Italy.
Happy Halloween, Todd. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hey, we will be right back with more TWIRx.
As frontline healthcare providers, pharmacists like you understand the importance of personalized care, especially in acute pain management. Ural Pharma is dedicated to providing high-quality, generic products tailored to meet your patient's needs. The company aims to serve a diverse range of patient populations, including athletes recovering from intense training, weekend warriors managing minor injuries, and those seeking a practical and mess-free option for acute pain management. Keep Ural in your toolbox of pain management options and join the ranks of pharmacists leading the way in personalized care. To learn more about Ural Pharma and its products, including full prescribing information, boxed warnings, and important safety information, visit uralpharma.com. That's YARAL pharma.com and connect with them on LinkedIn.
Hello, Pharmacy Podcast Network, and welcome back to the 31-day American Pharmacist Month Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse McCullough, and here we are. We are on the last day of the 31-day challenge. I got to start off just by saying thank you. I cannot tell you, I can't even put into words how thankful I am to everybody who has participated in this challenge. I can't put into words how thankful I am for all the guests that have come on the challenge to share these just different wonderful challenges. I really wish I could pick out what my favorite challenge has been over the course of the last 31 days. And of course, being here with a special sort of bonus challenge, if you will, on the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Let me also just say thank you so much to the Pharmacy Podcast Network for giving me this platform to share these extra challenges with you, my colleagues and brothers and sisters in the world of pharmacy. I hope you have found some value in any or all the challenges that you have participated in over the course of the last month. I've spent a lot of time this evening just thinking, what's the last challenge that I share with you, the viewers and listeners of the Pharmacy Podcast Network? And I've gone back and forth. I said, well, maybe I'll even give a challenge. I mean, the last official challenge dropped this morning at 6 a.m. Maybe you don't even have the appetite for another challenge. And I thought, well, maybe it's something like this. Maybe it's not so much a challenge as it is an invitation. Maybe it's an invitation that as we bring American Pharmacist Month to a close, maybe we need to have an invitation so that when we get back to American Pharmacist Month in 2026, we can say, wow, look at all of the ground we have covered. Now, I want to share with you a story that my mentor, Mark Cole, shared with me several years ago now. Mark said, Jess, everyone deserves to be led well. And for those of you that aren't real familiar with, my space in the world of pharmacy, my space is to help pharmacists improve their leadership skills so that they can lead themselves, their teams, and their patients better. And way back, several years ago, Mark said to me, Jess, everyone deserves to be led well. And that seemed pretty steep to me at the time. And the way that I had to wrestle with that is I had to sort of turn it upside down, and I said, well, maybe not everybody deserves to be led well. Let me make a list of those people who deserve to not be led well. Like who are the folks that we can get away with leading poorly? And I sat there with a blank piece of paper, and after quite a bit of time, I had to sort of concede that I couldn't put any name on that list. Right now, I don't know what area of the world of pharmacy that you where you operate in, but I'm going to tell you, the people that you work with, every one of them deserves to be led well. Every one of them. It doesn't matter what's going on. They all deserve to be led well. They all deserve to find themselves in a better situation, after they've had a conversation with you than before. right? So I think that's what I want to give you today. And if you want to, make this a challenge, you can make this a challenge. But I would encourage you to write these words down, and it's that everyone deserves to be led well. And I would go so far, if you really need to emphasize, feel free to underline any or all of those words, right? Everyone deserves to be led well. Now, the invitation comes from this. It's like, so while we can agree, and I think we could probably come to relatively quick agreement that everyone deserves to be led well, I think we can look and we can see that there's a lot of people who aren't. I think we can find evidence of people who, they find themselves in a place of struggle because they are not being led well. And to that end, let me invite you, dear listener. Let me invite you, dear viewer, however it is that you're consuming this episode of This Week in Pharmacy. Let me invite you to be part of a community where we improve our leadership skills. Now, you may already have a plan, and I certainly hope that you do have a plan to improve your leadership skills. It's just that in my experience, the overwhelming majority of people don't. In my experience, pretty much less than 5% of people have any type of plan to do that. And so to that end, I want to invite you into a community where you can begin to build those skills, and you can begin to understand the principles and the foundations that are going to allow you to lead people well. Again, everyone deserves to be led well. And so I'm going to send Todd. I'm going to send you the link. Right. I'm going to ask that you share this link out with this episode of This Week in Pharmacy. And I invite people be part of that. We have while the 31-day challenge is wrapping up, our next event to help pharmacy leaders improve. That's just a couple of days away. And I would love to have you in that to help you grow those skills so that you can have the impact that I know you want to have on all the people around you. So with that, I would also be curious for this, for those of you that have participated in the challenge, and I want you to know, I've got all sorts of stories that I'll need to share. I'm going to have to write these down, but I'd be really curious to hear from you. Participant, challenger in the 31-day challenge. What has been your favorite challenge so far? And I would love to hear just your success stories and, some of the impact that some of these challenges have had on you, because I'm going to tell you, I am hard pressed to tell you which one is the best challenge. Each one of those, every one that we had a guest on, those people brought their A game. And so I would also encourage you to reach out to those guests on the 31-day challenge. Let them know that you appreciate just the challenge, how they pushed you in some way to improve your skills, to improve your impact that you can have in pharmacy. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Todd, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share parts of the 31-day challenge with the This Week in Pharmacy audience on the Pharmacy Podcast Network. And if we are not yet connected, I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest place to connect with me. And I very much challenge you to recognize that everyone deserves to be led well. And if you don't have that plan to improve your leadership skills, I want to invite you into a community where you can help. Where you can get started right away to develop those skills. So with that, Todd, I'm going to wrap up my segment here, and I'm going to send it back to you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Feeling lost with the complexities of pharmacy accounting?
In pharmacy today, there's so many different, variables and issues that impact the pharmacy books, records, accounting, the profitability of the store, so forth. There's different components of pharmacy that have its own nuances from an accounting standpoint. And so it's tricky. There's no doubt about it.
Ready to take your pharmacy to the next level but don't know where to start? Sykes & Company is here to help. Introducing the RX Assessment. With the RX Assessment, the pharmacy CPAs and advisors at Sykes will do a deep dive into your accounting and tax situation and give you the action steps you need to take your pharmacy to the next level.
If you're interested in, working with a team who understands the industry and how the accounting and tax should really be in a pharmacy, this is your chance to get a under the hood check of what's going on and getting the feedback of any issues or concerns or, again, things we think you're doing really well with.
Get the financial checkup your pharmacy needs and head over to sykes-cpa.com or call 252-482-7644.
Continuing with the Halloween theme. Anybody get scared when you heard that? It's Halloween. Come on. Did you have fun? Anybody have any masks out there? Certainly, I hope you don't have a mask on while you're driving, unless, of course, it has really good eye holes. Something that's scary to me, the continuing beating up of our industry and our pharmacists and our pharmacy owners and the profession. There was a podcast I was very excited to get. It was one of the best podcasts we had ever done. It was around Mark Cuban, Cost Plus Drugs, when they first started, and it was quite amazing to get Alex Oshmosky, which is Dr. Oshmosky, who's the CEO of the Cost Plus Drugs, and it was back in January of 2021 when I had an opportunity to interview him, and it was just phenomenal. Well, we have a post by a close friend of mine, somebody who's a content developer that I look up to. He set the world on fire and podcasting on fire. Matthew Zachary, welcome back to TWIRx.
It is my pleasure, Todd.
It's good to have you. I tell you what, this post that you put out is currently on fire. If you haven't read this, you definitely, if you're on LinkedIn, you have to get on LinkedIn, look for Matthew Zachary, Zachary, Matthew Zachary, and you'll see a post that he has out there that is about Mark Cuban getting an opportunity to talk to lobbyists and Congress and getting deeper into the truth about PBMs and how they've, for lack of a better term, and it's a horrible term, but they've raped the profession of pharmacy in many, many ways and destroyed businesses and destroyed lives and didn't give the coverage that they wanted to. And it's really just about profit. And Mark is taking a position that he started a long, long time ago. Like I said, 2021, I think Alex, was just starting up. And now this organization is not only is it catching fire for him personally and his continuing success, but more importantly, it's trickling over into exposing what these PBMs have been doing. And I read your article and I just think it was absolutely fascinating. And so did 300,000 other people who have looked at this post. I can't believe how popular. It's almost 500,000 impressions. So that's incredible.
I was not expecting the response to this. People like me don't usually talk about Mark Cuban. We're living in the trenches of just trying to patch holes in the dam and make sure people are not nearly as screwed by the system as they are currently. But I've been listening to him. Honestly, I love that your show. I listened to your show. I was your listener on this show with Cost Plus, and just getting a sense of his consumer side, not his Wall Street Dallas Mavericks side. I'm convinced he has no idea what the downstream effect is of his calling bullshit out on industry. He doesn't understand the impact it is having in the patient advocate and the enterprise patient advocate space. So I just had to chime in after I watched his testimony, calling bullshit on these PBMs that are harming Americans every possible way they can, more than the other systems are trying to harm patients. And I just leaned into what he said. And I said, you are becoming the patron saint of patients without realizing what the hell you're doing. Mm-hmm. So let's stop solely focusing on the growth gains and the market shifting and the opinions on Wall Street and look at what the American citizens can get out of the fact that you are doing this. And sure enough, I put the right AI image up with the right tone. I tagged no one in the post, and it just became my most viral content on LinkedIn in 20 years.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it brought a lot of attention to some of the organizations and people that have now engaged and have read it. I've heard from one of my clients that read it, a very important client to us that is in the heart of independent community pharmacy, which is the Independent Pharmacy Cooperative, was educating them, Matthew, on the importance of being involved in HLTH, or some people say health. Going and they met Weight Watchers, and they met Best Buy Health, and they met payers and big companies. And independent pharmacy up until last year never had an organization that said, hey, here's a bunch of privately pharmacy owners that are also involved in this bigger ecosystem. I was very, and I think Alex, the CEO of Cost Plus Drugs, I think he holds this against me because I haven't gotten any follow-up on that podcast for the last 4 years. So this is a mistake that I made in being too harsh. But in the beginning, when they were starting this whole Cost Plus Drugs, I did not trust Mark Cuban, as a humanitarian, and he really is. And I want to apologize in the way that I handled that originally, just publicly. And what I said was, this is just a ploy and just a strategy to try to get into the market of pharmaceutical distribution and in pharmacy, just like Amazon, and I was kind of mad about it. And I said, the only way that you could prove to me that this was super sincere and looking out for what's the best in the whole ecosystem, doesn't mean you can't make profit. Of course, make some profit, but not at the volume of what PBMs are doing. But I said, the only way that he could prove this to me is if they embraced independent community pharmacy and teamed up with them to assure that the communities that they're trying to literally save, because it's the only provider of healthcare in the entire 20-mile radius in the middle of Buntuck, or Orlando, or
I want to go to Buntuck, where the hell that is.
But I'm just saying it was frustrating me because I thought it was a mega move, a mega profit move again. And now I know it wasn't, and I want to be, he's a badass, and he's using I don't even think not that he doesn't care about money. I'm sure, he does, but I don't think this is really that's not his foot. And I'm looking at your post and his foot sticking out. So it makes sense to say that, but I don't think he's stepping on into the pharmacy sector. It wasn't about being profitable. It was about, hey, we could do this and still make money, which is they are. It's just a flat fee, and it's, but I wanted them to embrace independent community pharmacy. And guess what? He has shown up in the space of privately owned pharmacy now several times, including on a podcast with one of my clients called Sykes and Company. And now I'm like, I have all the respect in the world for him, because he's come full circle in realizing that we have to do this together. Hospital systems and specialty pharmacy, which I know you don't like that word, community pharmacy, independence, even our chains, we have to show up and we have to work together. And he's ready to do that. I really believe he is.
The answer to all of that is absolutely yes. I don't know if you should apologize. I think it's good to be skeptical at the start, and then let them prove themselves afterwards. Believing in good intentions, it should be earned, not automatically given. So forgive yourself for needing to apologize to them. We should be angry and skeptical. Oh, here's another for-profit scandal going to rape the country. No, prove yourself that you're better than everything else. And they did just that. I have been very reserved in chiming in on what Cuban's intentions have been, but his testimony was just scathing against fraud, waste, and abuse, which apparently are the terms these days we're supposed to use. But this is truly where it actually is. There is no need for these middlemen to exist in our country. There is no economic gain to citizens for this to exist in our country. This is harm. This is nothing more than harm to Americans that this exists. So I will reiterate, I don't believe he truly understands the depth, breadth, and heft of the impact, reputation, and the patron sainthoodness, if I can coin a term, that he's downstreaming to the average citizen. And he has an opportunity to engage with the average citizen now to understand what we need to get done to support what he needs to get done. What's finally a billionaire on the side of consumer protection.
Yeah, and the timing couldn't be better, Matthew, because the backs are being broken of these big three PBMs who thought they were constantly staying one step ahead of the lawyers and spending multi-billions of dollars in lobbying. And when the NCPA was like a fraction of that, being able to lobby, and now the 10% of the total pie of all this lobbying money is finally seeping into the cracks that have been created to have someone at his level from a public perspective bringing attention to it. It's that final boss in the video game that you come up against.
Yeah, and the last level. Yes,
yeah, exactly. And the big boss is Mark Cuban. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to connect people to listening to this from the consumer perspective and letting them understand PBMs are purposely confusing. That they do not want the public to understand what they do with tax money and with money that your grandmother desperately needs to cover her meds, and she can't because she can't afford it anymore. And it's all being sucked up into the vacuum of profit. And they didn't even do a good job in the last 3 years hiding it. And no. When these analysts, drug channels, and and three something advisors, Antonio Chacha, and all these people that were the insiders, they've been chiming on this for 10 years. You have been chiming on it for 20 years. And now all of a sudden, all of this chipping away, I'm finally at a place in my 22-year career in pharmacy where I see major things taking place and changes happening.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I've been trickling out very slowly to the industry what I've been fomenting for the last year and a half, which is the very idea. It basically flies in the face of what we have been calling patient advocacy for 25 years, which is we are always on the defensive, on the receiving end of fuckery, and we have to just take it and hope a Hill Day solves the problem with a state reconciliation budget that works with either HIPAA or the FDA or OCS or CMS or whatever it is. And they're like, our voices matter. I don't believe that exists anymore. I don't think our voices matter at all because we've never had power. We've always been on the defensive. And what is going to give Americans power? Not just patients, pharmacists, medical professionals. What is going to give us power is voting. And until now, we've never had the opportunity to be considered an electorate, to be considered a voter bloc. There's never been anything in this country that equivocates to ARP, Planned Parenthood, or the NRA for patient rights. It's nice to write up a patient manifesto or a cancer patient rights thing. Nothing matters unless it has the teeth of the fear of getting elected. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, that is what I've been building, and I'm happy to reveal a little more breadcrumbs here on your show.
Well, I love it. I mean, dive into some of the things you're kind of setting stage, because you've given me a preview of 2026, and I want to be a part. I mean, I want us all to be a part. I want as many pharmacists and pharmacy professionals to be a part of it. I think it's fascinating.
Well, the teaser is, it's called We the Patients. It's wethepatients.org, not .com. Don't search for it. We're not on the SEO in Google yet, but just type wethepatients.org into your browser or whatever, and you'll see what we're up to. We're like Second City, not quite ready for prime time. But at the end of the day, no one has ever organized the patient community, the cancer community, the medical community into a voter bloc. The question is, once we're formed as a voter bloc, what do we want? Because then we get to write the laws, we get to get the Hill Days, we get to talk to our elected officials, we get to groom candidates and endorse candidates like any other PAC would do. And I believe the first step here is to look at the simplest solution that is pro-corporate, which is consumer protection laws at the states that ban patients from getting abused by the system in a way that saves the state money, while at the same time also benefits the payer industry and eliminates middlemen. So we are looking at consumer protection laws at the state level that mandate health economic benefits by doing X, Y, and Z to benefit patients and providers in that state. And this is unprecedented in American history. No one has ever put together an organized voter bloc of millions of Americans on the single most bipartisan purple issue in America. Should anyone die because United Healthcare says no?
Yeah. Bill Schmitnick has been on the show several times, and the loss of his son Cole, he lost because of a PBM way of doing business. And if that would have been, in the hands of a non-chain publicly traded pharmacy, if it would have been in the hands of an independent, Cole would still be here, because that independent would have said, hey, here's your inhaler. We're going to get this taken care of later because your insurance is really jacked up right now. We'll follow up with it. And that's not what happened. And to have that happen, and to know now somebody that I now consider a friend, and we did some recordings, and him and his family are now deep into pharmacy transformation and PBM reform. And why does it take that? Why do things like that have to happen to get things to change? And it's just dumb. So, I mean, it's great that you're involved in it, because if we have additional hammers in this fight, I want the MZ hammer coming down and helping, because you brought so many voices for purpose and for traction and for everything from that patient's perspective of what you went through with your own cancer survival. And now, it's spreading. So this is the perfect time to be a part of this.
Yeah. So the breadcrumb ask of your viewers and your listeners and your network is to get ready for America to transform next year for the first time in history and create a voter bloc of millions that are going to demand protections and not reconciliations. And we meet it. We have teeth, which is that's a ChatGPT term that I'll use very sparingly. We have teeth, and we can be an electorate. We can do surveying and studying and polling and ask questions and write laws and talk to our elected officials like we have power. And this is not like a 26, 28, 30. This is mid-year ballots that get put up there with sponsors who want to get reelected based on specific single issues. This is really happening right now. And we're not pulling a trigger yet. We are asking people to basically eat the breadcrumbs, get a sense of what this is going to be, and want to attach themselves to a movement that's never existed before.
It's awesome. It's awesome. We'll be helping out. Hope to have you back on TWIRx, and we'll have a couple pharmacy industry professionals participating in the discussion around what this means for healthcare.
And Mark Cuban. Mark, if you're listening, get on the bandwagon.
That's right. Come on, TWIRx.
Yes, come on, TWIRx.
Hey, we'll be right back with more TWIRx. Matthew, thank you so much for this time.
My pleasure. Thank you, Todd.
This episode is sponsored by Independent Pharmacy Cooperative, widely known as IPC. Established in 1983, IPC is the nation's largest group purchasing organization owned by independent pharmacy. With a mission of maximizing the success of community pharmacists, IPC works to provide members with access to effective programs and services designed to enhance profitability for independent pharmacy. Read more about our mission by checking out our website at ipcrx.com. That's ipcrx.com.
This has been a fun episode for me. I want to thank you so much for listening. And before you go, I want you to think about something. I want you to think about the impact that you're actually having on people's lives. You are having impact on people who need you right now. Our government, why is it always so jacked up? Our government just seems to always shortfall the people, and especially the people that are paying all the taxes, like me, paying all those taxes. So we have to pick up the slack. I have to pick up the slack. We have to think of, how do we use this network to get to physicians? How do we get this network in supporting insurance companies who are doing the right thing, and they're out there. Independently owned PBMs, these transparent PBMs, they're literally changing how healthcare, more specifically, how pharmacy care can get paid for, and the future of what that means for the role of the pharmacist in disease state management. And thanks for IPC, by the way. IPC has that platform out called iCare Plus, and it's helping pharmacies and pharmacists, more importantly, pharmacists, to get paid for your services that have nothing to do with a dispensing fee. This is huge. This is where this industry's going. I predict within the next 3 to 5 years, more than 70%, maybe more, closer to 80% of the money that our pharmacists are making are going to be tied to the treatment and the treatment programs and the follow-up and the assurance that the medications are working as intended, and then being able to suggest pivots to the physician and the physician team, and sometimes just based on their knowledge, making the switch, especially if it's going to save a life, and you know that those things happen. Excuse me. What a day. What a day to be alive. What a day to be in pharmacy. I thank you for all of your work. I do want you to be aware of something. We have some new episodes that came out. Shout out to Dr. Mark Garofoli, the pain guy. Mark is amazing. He's an amazing podcaster. Check him out at painguy.us. Once again, that's painguy.us, or his podcast, painpod.us. That's painpod.us. The US stands for us. That's you and I. That's us. We are an us. And his pain management expertise is just out of this world, and he's fun to listen to. Take a listen to him. Hey, new pediatric pharmacist review, one of the hottest podcasts in the network and in pharmacy overall in all of 2025. We can't wait to talk to you more about this, but take a listen to the Kids List Lowdown, the latest from the pediatric pharmacist review. We also dropped our final episode of the coverage of the National Association of Specialty Pharmacies 2025 coverage of their show. The expo was absolutely phenomenal time together in what's happening in specialty pharmacy. If you're curious about specialty pharmacy and you want to listen to the insiders talk about where the entire profession's going and how important education is and how important expertise is from our pharmacists in these specialty tracks. So take a listen to that. We are doing so much with the associations right now. A shout out to the NCPA and the APHA and the APC and the NASP and the ASCP, NACDS. I mean, so much alphabet soup, but these organizations are bringing us together and empowering us and making us stronger. Our publication, our network, is an overlay of 100% of those. And if you want to take advantage of what we do and who we're connected to, 80,000 downloads per month, thousands and thousands of listeners, we see the public starting to ask questions. This is an opportunity to take this network to an entire new level. And I'm talking about iHeartMedia partnerships, and I'm talking about SiriusXM partnerships, and I'm talking about leveraging, and I'm talking about bringing pharmacists to the ears of our consumers. And if you want to be a part of that, if you want to dig in and really build this, because I'm going to keep going, I'm going to do this till the day I die, because I'm on fire right now. We're on fire right now. This profession is going through a massive change. I'm so proud to be a part of it. I'm so proud to serve you. That's who I am. That's what we are here at the Pharmacy Podcast Network. How can we work with you in your organization, in your people, your association, your passion as a pharmacist? How can I work with you and make things better for people and for people's lives out there who deserve the best pharmacy care? Hey, it's been wonderful to spend the time with you here on TWIRx. Please share, please subscribe, please tell another pharmacist, tell a physician about what we're doing, and have them, come on, create a show with me. Hope you have a wonderful weekend and a very happy Halloween 2025. Ooh.